Do you ever find yourself forgetting little things, struggling to remember names, or feeling like your mind just isn't as sharp as it used to be? It's a frustrating feeling, isn't it? We all want to stay vibrant and mentally alert as we age, enjoying our golden years with clarity and confidence. Yet, many of us are unknowingly consuming things every single day that are quietly working against our brain health, especially after we pass that 60-year mark. It's like a slow drip, drip, drip effect. Subtle at first, but over time, it can really add up, potentially impacting our memory, focus, and overall cognitive function. But here's the secret. Simple changes to what we eat can make a world of difference. Understanding which foods might be doing harm is the first powerful step towards protecting your most vital organ. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 delicious foods that might be quietly damaging your brain after 60 and what you can do about it. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you and give you a truly empowering way forward. Let's start with the first culprit, something many of us enjoy. Perhaps without even thinking about the potential consequences: added sugars. We're not just talking about the sugar you spoon into your tea or coffee, but the hidden sugars lurking in so many packaged foods, drinks, and treats. Think about that sweet pastry with your morning cuppa, the seemingly healthy-looking yogurt with fruit on the bottom, the sauces and dressings that add flavor, and, of course, all those tempting cakes, cookies, and candies. The problem isn't just the sugar itself, but the amount and the frequency. When you consume a lot of added sugar, especially from processed sources, it causes your blood sugar levels to spike rapidly. Your body, in turn, releases insulin to bring that sugar down. Over time, constant blood sugar spikes and the subsequent insulin responses can lead to something called insulin resistance, where your cells, including brain cells, become less responsive to insulin. Now, your brain relies heavily on glucose sugar for energy, but it needs a steady supply, not wild roller coasters. Insulin plays a role in brain cell communication and function, and when this system goes haywire due to too much sugar, it can impair cognitive function, affect memory, and even increase the risk of conditions like Alzheimer's disease later in life. Think of it like trying to power a delicate machine with a wildly fluctuating electrical current instead of a steady flow. Your brain simply can't function optimally under those conditions. Beyond the blood sugar roller coaster, excessive sugar intake fuels inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. Chronic inflammation is like a slow-burning fire that damages brain cells and disrupts their connections. It's been linked to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. So, that seemingly harmless sweet treat might be contributing to a low-grade inflammatory state that's gradually impacting your brain's health over the years. What can you do about it? It's not about eliminating all sweetness from your life, but being more mindful of where added sugars are hiding and cutting back where you can. Start by reading food labels carefully. Look for ingredients like sucrose, glucose, fructose, corn syrup, maltose, dextrose. These are all forms of added sugar. Be wary of products marketed as low-fat or healthy, as they often compensate for flavor by adding more sugar. Instead of relying on sugary snacks, reach for whole fruits, which provide natural sweetness along with fiber and antioxidants. Choose plain yogurt and add your own fruit or a touch of honey if needed. Opt for unsweetened beverages like water, herbal teas, or black coffee. Even small swaps, like choosing whole grain toast instead of a sugary muffin, or making your own salad dressing instead of buying a bottle filled with added sugar, can make a big difference over time. It's about retraining your palate to appreciate less intense sweetness and opting for whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible. This isn't about deprivation. It's about nourishing your brain with stable energy and reducing inflammatory triggers. Now, moving on from sugary treats, something else you might not realize is quietly affecting your brain is refined grains. These are foods made from grains that have been processed to remove the bran and germ, leaving only the starchy endosperm. Think white bread, white pasta, white rice, many breakfast cereals, crackers, and pastries. While they might be convenient and have a long shelf life, this refining process strips away much of the fiber, vitamins, and minerals that are beneficial for your health, including your brain health. Similar to added sugars, refined grains are quickly broken down into glucose in your digestive system, leading to rapid spikes in blood sugar. Again, this puts stress on your insulin system and contributes to that damaging cycle of insulin resistance and inflammation we just talked about. A diet high in refined grains is essentially providing your brain with a fast, unstable source of fuel, rather than the steady, sustained energy it needs. Think of it like fueling your car with rocket fuel instead of regular gasoline. The initial burst might seem powerful, but it's unsustainable and potentially damaging to the engine over time. The lack of fiber in refined grains is also a problem. Fiber helps slow down the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream, creating a more gradual and stable release of energy. It also feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, which are increasingly understood to have a significant impact on brain health through the gut-brain axis. When you consume mostly refined grains, you're missing out on this crucial support system for both stable blood sugar and a healthy gut microbiome, both of which are vital for optimal cognitive function as you age. Furthermore, refined grains are often fortified with synthetic vitamins, but they lack the full spectrum of nutrients found in whole grains in their natural state. B vitamins, for instance, which are important for brain health, are found naturally in the germ and bran. While fortified foods add some back, they don't replicate the nutritional richness of whole grains. So, what's the alternative? It's a simple switch, but one that requires mindfulness at the grocery store and in your kitchen. Choose whole grain versions of your favorite foods whenever possible. Look for whole wheat, whole rye, oats, brown rice, or other whole grains listed as the first ingredient. Enjoy foods like quinoa, barley, and farro. Swap white bread for whole wheat bread, white pasta for whole wheat pasta, and white rice for brown rice or wild rice. Try incorporating more whole grains into your meals in different ways. Oatmeal for breakfast, a quinoa salad for lunch, or a side of brown rice with dinner. These whole grain options provide a slower, more sustained release of energy, helping to keep your blood sugar levels stable. They also offer more fiber, nourishing your gut and supporting overall health. Making this switch isn't just about avoiding the negative impacts of refined grains. It's about actively providing your brain with the complex carbohydrates and vital nutrients it needs to function at its best as you continue to live your vibrant life. It's a foundational step towards better brain health that's surprisingly easy to implement once you know what to look for and make it a habit. Next, let's talk about something many people find incredibly tempting and satisfying: fried foods. Think crispy chips, golden French fries, fried chicken, donuts, and many other delicious but deep-fried items. While they might be a treat for your taste buds, regularly consuming fried foods can have a detrimental impact on your brain health, especially as you get older. The primary issue with fried foods is how they are cooked. They are typically submerged in hot oil, often at very high temperatures. This process can create unhealthy compounds, including advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, and trans fats. If the oil isn't changed frequently or is partially hydrogenated, AGEs can accumulate in the body over time and contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress, which are harmful to brain cells. Trans fats, even the small amounts found in some commercially fried foods due to the oils used, are particularly notorious for their negative health effects. They contribute to inflammation, damage blood vessels, and have been linked to poorer cognitive function and a higher risk of dementia. Beyond the harmful compounds created during frying, fried foods are also typically high in unhealthy fats and calories. A diet rich in these can contribute to weight gain, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and insulin resistance, all of which are risk factors for cognitive decline and brain diseases. The saturated and unhealthy fats in fried foods can impair the function of the blood vessels that supply the brain with oxygen and nutrients. When these blood vessels are damaged or narrowed, the brain doesn't receive the consistent flow of blood it needs, which can impact its ability to function properly over time. Furthermore, the high calorie density of fried foods can lead to overconsumption and nutrient displacement. When you fill up on fried items, you're likely consuming fewer nutrient-dense foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, which are rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that protect brain cells. So, while that crispy texture and savory flavor might be appealing in the moment, the cumulative effect of regularly consuming fried foods is like putting unnecessary stress on your brain's delicate systems. It's not about never enjoying a fried treat again, but rather recognizing that these should be occasional indulgences, not dietary staples. What are some alternatives if you're craving that crispy texture? Consider baking or air frying instead of deep frying. These methods can achieve a similar result with significantly less added fat and fewer harmful compounds. Choose leaner cooking methods like grilling, steaming, or stir-frying. When you do eat fried foods, make it a rare treat and try to balance it with plenty of nutrient-rich vegetables and whole foods in the same meal or throughout the day. Be mindful of portion sizes, as fried foods are often very calorie-dense. Pay attention to how you feel after eating fried foods. Many people report feeling sluggish or mentally foggy, which is a direct reflection of how your body and brain are reacting. By reducing your intake of fried foods and opting for healthier cooking methods, you're not only benefiting your waistline and heart, but also giving your brain a much better chance to stay healthy and function optimally as you continue to age gracefully. It's about choosing cooking methods that nourish rather than harm. Moving on, let's address another category of food that's incredibly common and convenient, but poses a hidden threat to brain health: processed meats. This includes things like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats like ham, turkey, and salami, jerky, and cured meats. These foods are often high in unhealthy saturated fats, sodium, nitrates, and other preservatives and additives. While they might be quick to prepare or convenient for sandwiches, the way they are processed and the compounds they contain can be detrimental to your brain over time. One of the main concerns with processed meats is their high sodium content. Excess sodium intake is a major contributor to high blood pressure, which damages blood vessels throughout the body, including those supplying the brain. As we discussed with fried foods, impaired blood flow to the brain can lead to cognitive decline and increase the risk of stroke, which can cause significant brain damage. Beyond sodium, processed meats often contain nitrates and nitrites, which are used as preservatives and to enhance color. These compounds can be converted into potentially harmful substances called nitrosamines in the body, especially when exposed to high heat like frying bacon. Nitrosamines are known to cause inflammation and oxidative stress, and some research suggests they may have a negative impact on brain health. Furthermore, processed meats are typically higher in saturated fats compared to leaner protein sources. A diet high in saturated fat can raise cholesterol levels and contribute to plaque buildup in arteries, further impeding blood flow to the brain. Many processed meats also contain artificial flavors and colors, and while the long-term effects of these on brain health are still being studied, opting for whole, unprocessed foods is generally a safer bet. Think about the convenience of a deli meat sandwich or the ritual of bacon with breakfast. These are deeply ingrained habits for many people. The challenge is recognizing that while occasionally enjoying these might not be a major issue, making them a regular part of your diet significantly increases your exposure to compounds that are less than ideal for an aging brain. So, what's a brain-friendly approach? Focus on incorporating more unprocessed protein sources into your diet. Choose fresh, lean meats like chicken, turkey, or fish. Opt for plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, tofu, and nuts. When you make sandwiches, use leftover cooked chicken or fish instead of deli meat. Limit your consumption of bacon and sausage to very occasional treats. Read labels carefully and look for lower sodium options if you do purchase processed meats, though ideally, it's best to minimize them altogether. Think about incorporating more meals centered around vegetables, legumes, and whole grains, with smaller portions of lean protein. Making these swaps not only benefits your brain but also your heart and overall well-being. It's about consciously choosing proteins that nourish your body without the added burden of excess sodium, unhealthy fats, and potentially harmful preservatives. It's a simple shift from convenience to health-conscious choices. Now, let's delve into another category that might be hiding in plain sight: foods high in trans fats. While the use of artificial trans fats has been reduced in many countries, they can still be found in some processed foods, especially older formulations or in certain types of commercially baked goods, fried foods, margarines, and shortenings. Trans fats are a type of unsaturated fat that has been chemically altered through a process called hydrogenation to make them more solid and stable. This process makes them useful for extending the shelf life of processed foods and giving certain baked goods a desirable texture. However, unlike naturally occurring fats, trans fats are particularly harmful to your health. They are strongly linked to increased bad cholesterol (LDL) and decreased good cholesterol (HDL), significantly raising the risk of heart disease. And what's bad for your heart is almost certainly bad for your brain, as brain health is intricately linked to the health of your cardiovascular system. Damaged blood vessels caused by trans fats restrict blood flow to the brain, depriving it of the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function optimally. Beyond the cardiovascular impact, studies have directly linked higher trans fat intake to poorer memory function, reduced brain volume, and an increased risk of dementia. It's believed that trans fats promote inflammation and oxidative stress in the brain, damaging brain cells and disrupting the connections between them. Think about those flaky pastries, certain types of cookies, microwave popcorn, and ready-made pie crusts. These are places where trans fats can sometimes be found. Even if the label claims 0 grams trans fat per serving, the FDA allows products with less than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving to round down to 0, meaning you could still be consuming small amounts that add up over time, especially if you eat multiple servings. The best way to avoid trans fats is to steer clear of foods containing partially hydrogenated oils in the ingredient list. This is the key indicator that trans fats are present. Opting for whole, unprocessed foods is the most effective strategy. Choose healthy fats from sources like avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, and fatty fish. When baking, use butter or natural oils instead of shortening or margarine that contain partially hydrogenated oils. Be cautious of packaged snacks and fast food items, as they can be hidden sources of trans fats. It requires a bit of label reading and conscious effort. But avoiding trans fats is one of the most significant steps you can take to protect both your heart and your brain as you age. It's about choosing fats that nourish and support your body's systems, rather than those that clog and damage them. Finally, let's consider the impact of high-sodium processed foods, distinct from processed meats, which we've already discussed, but often sharing some of the same issues. This category includes a vast array of items like canned soups, packaged snacks, crackers, crisps, instant noodles, ready meals, frozen pizzas, certain sauces, condiments, and even some seemingly healthy items like cottage cheese or bread can contribute significantly to your sodium intake if you're not careful. While sodium is an essential mineral, most people in Western cultures consume far too much of it, largely due to the prevalence of processed foods. Excess sodium intake is a primary driver of high blood pressure, or hypertension, which is a major risk factor for cognitive decline, vascular dementia, and stroke. High blood pressure damages the delicate blood vessels that supply the brain, making them less flexible and more prone to blockages or rupture. This reduced blood flow can lead to chronic low-level damage to brain tissue over time, impacting memory, executive function, and processing speed. Think about the convenience of a ready meal or a quick bowl of instant soup. These items are designed for speed and flavor, and often that flavor comes courtesy of large amounts of added salt. The salt content in a single serving can sometimes be close to or even exceed the recommended daily limit for many individuals, especially those over 60 who may be more sensitive to the effects of sodium. Beyond blood pressure. Some research also suggests that very high sodium intake might have direct inflammatory effects on the brain, independent of blood pressure. While this area is still being researched, the primary concern remains the well-established link between excess sodium and cardiovascular health, which directly impacts brain health. So, how do you navigate a world filled with salty temptations? The most effective strategy is to reduce your reliance on processed and packaged foods. Cook more meals from scratch using fresh ingredients, where you have control over the amount of salt added. When buying canned vegetables or beans, choose low sodium or no added salt versions and rinse them before use. Be mindful of the sodium content in seemingly innocuous items like bread, cereals, and condiments. Check the nutrition labels. Use herbs, spices, lemon juice, and vinegar to add flavor to your food instead of relying solely on salt. When eating out, ask about the sodium content of dishes or request that your food be prepared with less salt. Gradually reducing your sodium intake allows your palate to adjust, and you'll find you appreciate the natural flavors of food more. This isn't about cutting out all salt, but significantly reducing the hidden, excessive sodium found in processed foods. By doing so, you're not just helping your heart, you're actively protecting the health of your brain's vital blood supply, ensuring it gets the consistent nourishment it needs to stay sharp and functional for years to come. It's a simple yet powerful dietary change that can have profound benefits. So, we've talked about added sugars, refined grains, fried foods, processed meats, trans fats, and high-sodium processed foods. 6 types of delicious foods that, while enjoyable in moderation, can quietly work against your brain health after 60 if they become staples in your diet. It might seem daunting to think about changing habits around foods you've enjoyed for years. But please, don't feel discouraged. The wonderful truth is that your brain is incredibly resilient and capable of benefiting from positive changes at any age. Making small, consistent adjustments to your diet can have a significant impact over time. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about becoming more aware of what you're putting into your body and making choices that nourish your brain rather than burden it. Think of each healthy swap you make: choosing whole grain bread, grabbing a piece of fruit instead of a sugary snack, opting for baked chicken instead of fried, cooking a meal with fresh ingredients instead of relying on a ready meal, as an investment in your future clarity and cognitive function. These aren't drastic measures. They are gentle shifts that build healthier patterns. Remember, your brain needs stable blood sugar, healthy fats, plenty of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and good blood flow to function at its best. By reducing your intake of foods that cause blood sugar spikes, inflammation, and damage blood vessels, you are actively creating a more supportive environment for your brain cells. This can mean sharper memory, better focus, improved mood, and a greater sense of mental energy and vitality. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and making choices that align with your goals for healthy aging. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start small. Maybe focus on reducing added sugars in your beverages this week. Next week, try swapping out refined grains for whole grains in one meal a day. Gradually introduce more unprocessed foods and reduce your reliance on the 6 culprits we discussed. Celebrate each small victory along the way. You are in control of what you eat, and with that control comes the power to significantly influence your brain health. This journey is about progress, not perfection. It's about treating your body and your brain with the kindness and nourishment they deserve. Especially after 6 decades of dedicated service, your brain has carried you this far, helped you learn, love, and experience life. Now is the time to give it the best support you can. Making these dietary shifts isn't about giving up deliciousness. It's about discovering new, brain-boosting delicious foods and cooking methods that will keep you feeling vibrant and mentally sharp for years to come. What did you think about these 6 foods? Were any of them surprising to you? Are there any specific ones you plan to try and reduce? First, I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Your insights can help others in our community too. If you found this video helpful and empowering, please give it a thumbs up. That helps this important information reach more people who could benefit from it. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos packed with practical tips and encouragement for living your best life at every age. Thank you for spending this time with me, investing in your health and well-being. Remember, every healthy choice is a step towards a brighter, sharper future. Live your best life at every age.